Hello friends and welcome to Pathologic Volume 4 Episode 22, in which we will solve today a supersized Masyu puzzle. We have covered Masyu before, of course, and so you can go back in the archives and watch that older episode if it is a new one to you. I encourage you to do that. But if you just need a quick refresher, we will indeed take a look at the rules. The rules of Masyu are: draw a non-intersecting loop through the centers of some cells that passes through every circle. So this is one of our lovely loop drawing genres. As you can see in the final result, we have a loop that is going orthogonally, vertically and horizontally only, and going through some but not all the cells in the grid. The loop must turn on black circles and travel straight through the cells on either side. So this rule and the next one are maybe non-intuitive, but you get a sense for them pretty quickly as you solve these puzzles. So we're saying that this black dot must have a 90-degree turn in it and can't turn again in the cells right next to it. They've got to travel at least one cell through there, like this one does. This is the minimal case. Turns, goes straight, and then may turn again after that in both directions. The loop must go straight through white circles and turn in at least one of the cells on either side. So again, the basic rule of going straight through is fine, but the other part you have to start getting in your head, which is that right next to that white circle, there must be a turn in at least one of the two adjacent cells. We can't go straight through and continue on both sides. Those are all of the rules of Masyu, so it's time to solve a puzzle. Today's Masyu puzzle comes to us from Jovial. I see we've got a lot of black dots on the perimeter of the puzzle and white dots as well, and we know some things about those. First off, the black dots. Black dots have to have one horizontal line coming away from them and one vertical line, and if they're on the edge of the grid, we know the direction of one of those two. So on the left side, these have to go east. On the north side, these have to go south. These have to go south. On the east side, they have to go west. And on the south side, they have to go north. Before I proceed to the other ramifications of that, let's think about the white dots on the exterior. White dots on the exterior have to be parallel to that wall because they obviously cannot go into the wall. So these will have to go horizontally, these will have to go vertically, these will have to go horizontally along the south edge and vertically along the east edge. Now let's look at how these black dots on the edges turn. This one can't, when we have a pair of black dots like these, they can't turn into one another because they couldn't go far enough before having to turn again. So this pattern that we see all the way around the edge is always going to be two L's going away from one another. So let's fill those in. Then the white dots in a pair on the edge, we already know that any single white dot on the perimeter has to be parallel to the perimeter, but if we've got two in a row, each one needs a turn on one end or the other, and it can't be where the other dot is. So we're always going to have this kind of bracket shape anytime we have two white dots on the edge. So I can do that on all of these, and we've done a whole lot before even starting to really work on the inside of the grid at all. Let's clean up some of these edges first. This corner has to continue like that, and now this end would be a problem if it went up here because there's nowhere to go, and if it went to the east, we'd close the loop early, so it goes south. These go into white dots, so they have to continue, and then they're going to have to turn after that because they don't turn up here. So this turns east. This one can't turn east because there is a line segment there. So it goes west and then south. This goes south, at least one. I'll get to these in just a moment. This corner has to come downward. And I'm just proceeding around the outside to see other super obvious things. This has to go north. And we've made it around the grid. Okay, so now let's look at pairs of black dots. We saw the pattern in the corner. We get a slightly less powerful interaction with a pair of black dots in the middle of the grid. Because let's take this domino of black dots as an example. Again, each of them needs a horizontal and a vertical line coming out of it. And we can't say much about the horizontal one. East and west are equally likely on these. But the vertical one, we can. We can't go south from this dot because then we would go through this other black dot. So whenever we've got a pair of black dots, at least they both go away from the middle and turn in the middle. We can say that about any pair of black dots like that. And we got one more up here. And then we can look at the ramifications of that. This one comes up into a white dot, must keep going, and therefore must turn. These two can't turn south. There's not enough room to do that, so they both turn north. This loose end can't go west because then it would meet up with that one, so it goes east. This has to go north and west and north to not get trapped. This black dot has to turn north and has to keep going through that white one, and it's going to have to turn. Here we've got a white that is has a wall made by the line to itself, so it's going to have to be going horizontally. I guess that's a thing we could generally say about, just like we had a rule about black dots next to each other, white dots next to each other are either both horizontal or both vertical. We can't have one and then the other. So that's something to keep in mind as soon as we define one line through any domino of white dots. I think it's not quite as powerful as the black dot case. If this, now I'm going to go to some slightly less obvious things, like if this black dot were to turn west, it would go 1, 2, it would have to go through this white dot and then through that white dot, but we can't do that because if we had a line that passed through both white dots, it's got to turn on both sides, just like we saw on the edges. And so this wouldn't be possible over here. So this doesn't go west, this goes east. This dot is up against a wall now, and it has to go east. Can't go north because there's not enough room, so it goes south. That makes both of these have to go west, and they will join up with one another. This loose end has to turn east, and this one has to go south. Now we've got a white dot against a wall. That's going to have to go east and south. Down here, this loose end can't go east. It would get trapped. It goes west. And we're building up this trail. It could go north and meet up with that one, or it could go west and meet up with that one. Those are both okay at the moment. If this fuchsia segment here were to turn right, then it would go east, have to keep on going east because of this white dot, and that's going to make this one end too early. This loose end would get trapped. So this has to turn west. And now that tells us these white dots are both vertical. This one's vertical, and therefore they're both vertical. And it does that. And this end has to turn east. This end has to turn east as well. And this and is going to have to turn west, meeting up with the red. This comes south. This comes south to not end the loop early. Let's think about, I don't know if this is the right word for this. I'm going to say parity. This region, if you imagine a region here, this 3x3 region, how many entrances and exits are there to this region? There, even potentially. There's one right here on this edge, none here. There's one potentially right here, and there's one potentially right here, and one potentially right there. So a maximum of 4 exits and entrances. We have to have an even number in any region because we have to enter it as many times as we leave it, even if that's 0. So let's say that it was 2, the 2 that we're given. That means that this end, I think that's okay, actually. I thought I was going to have something profound to say about that, but I think maybe if I draw the region slightly differently, that would work. Because the goal is to get a case where we force a line to enter the region or not enter the region in order to make that number still even. But this one is actually the problem. We've got 2 that could go in or out. And at the moment, I think both are possible. So let's come back to that. That was an interesting thought, but I think it was an excursion we're not quite ready to make. This black dot is completely defined. It can't go north because it would be trapped, so it's got to go south. It can't go left because it would hit this wall, so it's got to go east. That means this one does have to turn. It's got to turn north. And this can't go east because it would get trapped. It's got to go south. Now this has to go east. Now let's think about the parity of, let's say, this 2x2 region. We've got 1, 2, 3 entrances and exits to this region that are known to be the case. So we need 4 or 6 or 8 or something like that. And the only way we can do that is 4. We would need to enter right there. So that's one way that you could see that this does have to go north. All right, this line comes into this black dot and then has to go south. This has to go east to meet up with these, or west on, well, this one's the obvious one. This can only go west. And this line, let's see what has to meet up now. These could both connect horizontally, or they could both connect vertically. Both of those seem okay. Let's look at this dot. Can't go west. It would hit this segment right here. So it goes east. This bottom now can't go west or north. It has to go east. That shows that this is going to be a horizontal and must stop because it's got to turn on one side or the other, making this one a vertical. And this has to turn west and then north. This is going to have to turn north. This is up against a wall, and these are dominoes, so they're both going to be horizontal. Let's make them horizontal. This blue line now has to turn west. This red one has to go south. This black dot has a line coming up from the south. It's got to turn, can't go east. It's got to go west. Have we defined what happens in here? Almost. Yes, we have. Because these now can't meet up, that would make one continuous loop. We've got 2 things that are almost the same color there. I'm going to change the line colors. That's better. These purples, this purple, we can't close too early. So they're going to both go south. Now let's just follow this blob. We can't close it, so that they've got to go west like that. If this were to go north, it would hit a dead end, so it goes west further than that. This black dot will tell us most of the rest of what's going on, because it can't go west, it's got to go east. And these two black dots, neither of them could go west. We could have seen that very early. They both go east. And this does not go south because it would, or east, because it would close off this loop. So it goes north. This has to go north through the gap. This black dot now needs an L and can only go north to do so. And we've got a pair of white dots. They've got to go the same direction, so they're both vertical. And finally, we're going to close up our loop by matching up these two ends. And that is how you solve a Masyu.